The arrival. The stars bent and twisted as the massive ship tore through the fabric of space itself. Reality shuddered, then split open like a wound. From that wound emerged something the galaxy had never seen before. Humanity's first Titan-class warship, the Indomitable. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge, her hands clasped behind her back. Around her, dozens of crew members worked at their stations. Screens flickered with data. The hum of the massive ship's engines vibrated through the deck plates beneath her boots. She had commanded destroyers before. She had led missions across the solar system. But nothing had prepared her for this moment. FTL drive disengaged, Captain. Lieutenant Chen reported from the navigation station. We've arrived at the Viridian Reach coordinates. All systems nominal, added Chief Engineer Marcus Torres through the comm. His voice carried the slight accent of his Mexican heritage. The old girl performed perfectly. Elena allowed herself a small smile. The Indomitable was not old at all. She was brand new, fresh from the construction yards orbiting Mars. 3 kilometers of reinforced titanium alloy hull, weapon systems that could crack a moon, shield generators powerful enough to withstand a nuclear blast, and a crew of 12,000 souls, the best humanity had to offer. Scan the area, Elena commanded. Let's see who's waiting for us. The sensor operator, a young woman named Park, worked her console with quick fingers. Captain, I'm reading multiple contacts, 23 vessels, various sizes and configurations. They're holding position approximately 50,000 kilometers ahead. Elena nodded. This was expected. Earth had received the invitation 3 months ago. A simple message in mathematical language, the universal tongue of physics. The Galactic Council wanted to meet humanity. They had provided coordinates and a date. Today was that date. Open a channel, Elena said. All frequencies. Let them know we're here for the diplomatic summit. Communications Officer Rodriguez adjusted his headset. Channel open, Captain. Transmitting on all standard frequencies plus the ones they specified in their message. Attention, Galactic Council representatives. Elena spoke clearly. This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Earth vessel Indomitable. We come in peace as invited to participate in the first contact summit. We are honored to meet you. She waited. The bridge fell silent except for the ambient sounds of the ship. Seconds stretched into a minute. Then 2. Captain, Park said, her voice uncertain. The alien vessels are changing formation. They're spreading out, surrounding us. Elena frowned. Defensive posture? It looks like it, ma'am. I'm reading power spikes in what might be weapon systems on at least 12 of the ships. This was not the welcome they had expected. Elena had imagined handshakes or whatever aliens did instead. Speeches about unity and cooperation. Not this cold military response. Raise shields, she ordered. But keep weapons offline. We're not starting a war on our first day out here. The ship's defensive screens activated with a low thrumming sound. Invisible barriers of electromagnetic force now surrounded the Indomitable, ready to deflect energy weapons and physical projectiles. Captain, we're receiving a transmission, Rodriguez announced. Audio and visual. It's strange. The translation matrix is having trouble. Put it through. The main view screen flickered. An alien face appeared. At least Elena thought it was a face. The creature was made of something that looked like living crystal, pale blue and translucent. Geometric patterns shifted beneath its surface. When it spoke, the voice was like wind chimes. Human vessel, the alien said through the imperfect translation. You have violated protocol. You were instructed to send a diplomatic ship. You have sent a warship, a weapon of enormous destruction. Explain your hostile intent. Elena's stomach tightened. Hostile intent? They had sent their best ship because Earth wanted to make a good impression. The Indomitable represented humanity's greatest achievement in engineering and technology. How could that be interpreted as hostile? Ambassador, Elena said carefully. There has been a misunderstanding. We sent this ship as a sign of respect, to show you what humanity is capable of. We meant no threat. The crystal alien's patterns flashed red. Your ship is larger than our regulations permit in neutral space. Your weapons are powered. Your sensors are actively scanning our vessels, creating targeting solutions. These are acts of war preparation. Our sensors are standard operating procedure, Elena protested, and our weapons are offline. We're only defending ourselves because your ship surrounded us. Another voice cut through the channel. This one was rough, guttural, like gravel being crushed. A different alien appeared on screen. something reptilian with scales like armor plates and eyes that burned with inner fire. The humans lie. The creature growled. I am War Commander Therex of the Chromath Dominion. Your ship is a dreadnought. In all the galaxy, only 3 species possess such vessels, and they are forbidden in neutral zones by ancient law. You humans have broken that law. You will power down your shields and submit to boarding, or you will be destroyed. Elena felt sweat bead on her forehead. This was spiraling out of control. Earth had no idea about these laws. Humanity had only achieved faster-than-light travel 15 years ago. They had spent a decade building this ship, believing they needed protection in an unknown universe. Now that caution was being interpreted as aggression. We cannot allow foreign boarding of a military vessel, Elena said, keeping her voice steady. It goes against our protocols. But we can send a shuttle with diplomats. They will answer any questions you have. The crystal alien, the first one who spoke, reappeared. I am Ambassador Threlnix of the Etherian Conquered, human captain. Your refusal to comply suggests you have something to hide. The Council cannot allow an unknown military power to operate with impunity. You must understand our position. And you must understand ours, Elena shot back. We're 12,000 light years from home. We came here in good faith, following your invitation. We're not surrendering our ship to strangers, no matter how well-intentioned. Behind her, Lieutenant Chen whispered urgently. Captain, more ships are arriving. I count 15 additional contacts. They're taking up attack positions. Elena's mind raced. 38 alien vessels now surrounded them. The Indomitable was powerful, designed to fight multiple opponents. But this many? And on their first day of contact? This couldn't be how humanity entered the galactic stage, with bloodshed and war. Ambassador Threlnix, Elena tried again. Give us time. Let us communicate with Earth. Let us find a solution that satisfies everyone. There has to be a peaceful way through this. Threlnix's crystalline features seemed to soften slightly. Captain Vasquez, I sense your sincerity. But the law is the law. The Council has debated your situation during your silence. We offer this compromise. Power down all systems except life support. Allow our inspection teams aboard, and we will... The transmission cut off. Alarms shrieked across the bridge. Incoming fire, Park shouted. Single projectile from one of the Chromath vessels. The view screen showed a bright streak of energy racing toward them. It struck the Indomitable's shields with a flash of light. The ship barely trembled. The shields held easily against the single shot. But the ship's automated defense systems had not been told to wait. They had been programmed to protect the crew. 3-point defense turrets tracked the projectile's trajectory, calculated its origin, and fired back. Brilliant lances of coherent light stabbed out from the Indomitable's hull. 3 small Chromath drones exploded in silent blooms of fire. Cease fire! Elena screamed, but it was too late. The alien fleet erupted with activity. Ships that had been merely cautious now moved with aggressive intent. Weapons ports opened like hungry mouths. The communication channels filled with angry alien voices shouting in a dozen different languages. Elena stared at the view screen, watching as the situation she had tried so hard to control slipped away like water through her fingers. Humanity's first contact with alien life was about to become humanity's first interstellar war, and 12,000 crew members looked to her for the answer. Battle stations, she said quietly. God help us all. The misunderstanding. The bridge of the Indomitable hummed with tension. Every crew member sat rigid at their stations, hands hovering over controls they prayed they would not have to use. Captain Elena Vasquez gripped the arms of her command chair, her knuckles white. Captain, the Chromath fleet is forming an attack pattern, Lieutenant Chen reported. They're trying to flank us from multiple vectors. Keep shields at maximum, Elena ordered. But hold fire. I repeat, hold fire unless they shoot first. On the view screen, alien ships maneuvered like sharks circling prey. The beautiful crystalline vessels of the Etherians hung back, their surfaces glowing with soft light. The organic mycelian ships, huge mushroom-shaped things that looked grown rather than built, drifted slowly to one side. But the Chromath warships pressed closer, their weapons ports glowing red. Incoming transmission, Rodriguez announced. It's Ambassador Threlnix again. Put her through. The crystalline alien's face appeared, and Elena could see something in those geometric features that might have been distress. Captain Vasquez, you must power down your weapons immediately. The Chromath are within their rights to defend themselves after you destroyed their drones. Those drones were destroyed by automated systems, Elena explained quickly. We didn't give that order. Your ship fired on us first. Our defense systems reacted to protect the crew. You ask us to believe you cannot control your own weapons? The rough voice of War Commander Therex broke in. His scaled face pushed Threlnix aside on the screen. This makes you more dangerous, not less. A ship that fires without its captain's knowledge is a mad beast that must be put down. That's not what I'm saying, Elena snapped. We have point defense systems that automatically engage incoming threats. Every military vessel has them. Surely you have something similar. Therex's eyes narrowed. We control our weapons. We do not let machines make the choice to kill. Elena wanted to scream. Everything she said seemed to make the situation worse. She forced herself to take a breath to think. There had to be a way to explain this. Ambassador Threlnix, she tried again. Please, our cultures are different. Our technologies are different. But our intentions are not hostile. We came here to meet you, to join your community of species. We made mistakes because we didn't know your laws or customs. Help us understand. Threlnix's crystalline form flickered. For a moment, she seemed to be looking at something off-screen. Then she returned her attention to Elena. Captain, I want to believe you. But you must see how this appears. Your ship is enormous, larger than anything we have seen in centuries. You refuse to allow inspection. Your weapons react without command, and now I am being told that your radio broadcasts which we intercepted contain threats and violence. What broadcasts? Elena asked, confused. Your entertainment transmissions, your historical records. They show a species obsessed with war and conquest. Movies about destroying aliens, television shows about military victories. Even your children's programs contain weapons and fighting. Elena felt her face flush. Of course. Humanity had been broadcasting radio and television signals into space for over a century. The aliens must have intercepted old transmissions, movies about alien invasions, war films, action shows. They were judging humanity based on its fiction and history, not its intentions. Those are stories, Elena protested. Entertainment, fiction, they're not real. But they come from your imagination, Threlnix said softly. They reveal what your species thinks about, dreams about, fears about. Captain, in all those transmissions, we found very few stories about peace, about cooperation, about meeting aliens as friends. She was right. Elena knew she was right. Humanity's pop culture was filled with alien invasions and space battles, because those made exciting stories. Nobody made blockbuster movies about peaceful diplomatic negotiations. We've never met another intelligent species before, Elena said quietly. Our stories about aliens were just guesses, fears about the unknown. But now we have met you. We can write new stories, better stories. Before Threlnix could respond, a new voice broke into the channel. This one was softer, almost musical, with strange harmonics that the translator struggled with. I am Sporax, science officer of the Mycelian Collective. I have been studying human transmissions more carefully than my colleagues. I believe Captain Vasquez speaks truth. A new face appeared on the split screen, if it could be called a face. The mycelium looked like a cluster of mushrooms arranged in a vaguely head-like shape. Bioluminescent spots glowed in patterns across its surface. Explain, Therex growled. The human transmissions show a pattern, Sporax said. Yes, there is violence in their history, but there is also cooperation. They show incredible loyalty to their group members. They risk their lives to save others. Their fiction may show them fighting aliens, but it also shows them fighting to protect the innocent. To defend the weak. These are not the transmissions of a purely aggressive species. Pretty words, Therex snarled. But we deal with reality, not analysis. The reality is a warship that threatens us. The reality, Sporax countered, is that humans have traveled alone in the universe until this moment. They built this ship not knowing if they would meet friends or enemies. Would we not do the same? Elena felt a surge of gratitude toward this strange mushroom creature. At least someone was trying to understand humanity's position. The Council must vote on this matter, Threlnix announced. Captain Vasquez, maintain your current position. Do not move. Do not scan us again. Do not power any additional weapons. We will decide your fate within the hour. The transmission ended. Elena slumped in her chair. Around her, the bridge crew remained silent. They had trained for years for this mission. They had prepared for every scenario they could imagine. But they had not prepared for this. to be judged as warmongers before they had even said hello properly. "Captain," a soft voice said behind her. She turned to see Diplomatic Officer Kenji Yamamoto approaching. He was a thin man with silver hair and kind eyes. His job was supposed to be making friends, not preventing wars. "Yes, Kenji? Permission to speak freely?" "Always. We approached this all wrong," he said gently. "We thought showing strength would earn respect. But to them, strength looks like threat. We should have sent a smaller ship. A civilian vessel. Scientists and diplomats, not soldiers." "Earth Command made the decision," Elena said. "They wanted to show the aliens that humanity was powerful, advanced, not some primitive species to be ignored or exploited." "And now those aliens think we're conquerors," Kenji replied. "Captain, if we survive this, we need to completely change our approach. We need to show them our art, our music, our culture, not our weapons." Elena knew he was right, but knowing didn't change their current situation. "Captain," Park's voice was urgent. "I'm detecting a spatial anomaly forming nearby. It's growing fast. Very fast." On the view screen, space itself seemed to be tearing open. A swirling vortex of colors that should not exist spread across the stars like a wound in reality. "What is it?" Elena demanded. "Unknown, ma'am." "I've never seen readings like this. Massive gravitational distortions. Radiation spikes across all spectrums. Oh God, Captain, it's a quantum filament collapse. I've read about these in theoretical papers, but they're supposed to be incredibly rare." "What does it do?" Park's face went pale. "It destroys everything nearby. The gravitational shear will tear apart any ship within 100,000 kilometers. And it's expanding toward us, and toward the alien fleet." Warning klaxons began to sound. The alien ships were already moving, breaking formation as they fled from the growing anomaly. "They're running," Chen observed. "Smart. We should do the same." Marcus Torres's voice came through from engineering. "Captain, we need to get out of here now." But Elena was staring at her sensor display. There, caught between the Indomitable and the expanding anomaly, a single ship drifted helplessly. It was one of the mycelian vessels, smaller than the others, probably a transport or civilian craft. Park scanned that ship. "The mycelian one. Why isn't it running?" Park worked her console frantically. "Their engines are offline. Looks like a power failure. Captain, they're dead in the water. And they're caught in the anomaly's gravity well. They can't escape." Elena looked at the readings. 3,000 life signs on that ship. 3,000 aliens who were about to die while their fleet fled to safety, probably assuming all ships were evacuating. Around her, the bridge crew waited for her order. The sensible order. The order to run, to save themselves and the Indomitable and all 12,000 human souls aboard. Elena Vasquez had spent 20 years in Earth's Navy. She had sworn an oath to protect human life. But she had also sworn to uphold the values humanity stood for, the values that made humanity worthy of reaching the stars. She made her decision. Helm set course for that mycelian ship. "Maximum thrust." The bridge erupted in shocked voices. Chen actually stood up from his station. "Captain, that's suicide." "That's an order, Lieutenant. We're going to save them." The Indomitable lurched forward, its massive engines burning at full power. The bridge crew scrambled to keep up with Captain Vasquez's order. Around them, space itself was screaming. The quantum filament collapse twisted reality into impossible shapes, pulling everything toward its hungry center. "Distance to the mycelian ship?" Elena asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. 60,000 kilometers and closing, Chen responded. His hands flew across the navigation controls. "Captain, our computer is calculating the stress factors. We have maybe 5 minutes before the gravitational shear tears us apart. Then we better work fast. Rodriguez, hail that ship. Let them know we're coming." The communications officer sent the message, then listened through his headset. "No response, Captain. Their communications might be offline along with their engines." On the view screen, the mycelian vessel grew larger. It was shaped like a massive brown mushroom cap with glowing patterns across its organic surface. Beautiful in its way, and utterly helpless as it drifted toward annihilation. "Engineering, I need options," Elena said into the comm. Marcus Torres's voice came back strained. "We can extend our shields to cover them, but it will drain our power reserves in minutes. The gravitational forces here are beyond anything we designed for. Captain, we might save them, but we'll die doing it." "Noted. Do we have any other options?" A pause. Then Marcus spoke again, and Elena heard the wheels turning in his brilliant engineer's mind. Maybe. Our Sundancer weapon, the particle beam we've never tested. It's designed to cut through heavy armor by exciting particles at the molecular level. If we could use it to destabilize the quantum filament itself, create a counter-reaction. That's purely theoretical. Another voice broke in. That was Dr. Sarah Chen, the ship's chief scientist. We don't know if it would work. We might just make the anomaly worse. Or we might save everyone, Elena said. How long to set it up? 3 minutes to reconfigure the weapon, Marcus reported. Maybe another minute to calculate the firing solution. 4 minutes total. Elena looked at the countdown timer on her screen. They had 5 minutes before the forces here destroyed them. Do it, Park. Keep scanning that anomaly. Give engineering every piece of data they need. The ship trembled as they pushed deeper into the distorted space around the quantum filament. Warning lights flashed across every console. The hull groaned under stresses it was never meant to endure. Captain, Lieutenant Chen said quietly, the alien fleet has stopped retreating. They're watching us on their long-range sensors. Elena glanced at the tactical display. The alien ships had pulled back to a safe distance, but they had not fled entirely. They were waiting, watching to see what the insane humans would do. Let them watch, Elena said. Maybe they'll learn something about us. The Indomitable pulled alongside the disabled mycelian ship. Up close, Elena could see details through the view screen. Windows glowing with warm light. Gardens growing on the exterior hull, the organic architecture of a species that grew their technology rather than building it. Extending shields, the tactical officer announced, enveloping the mycelian vessel. The ship's power levels dropped immediately as the shields expanded to cover both vessels. Alarms sounded. Red lights bathed the bridge. Shield generators at 120% capacity, Marcus reported from engineering. They're overheating. We've got maybe 3 minutes before they burn out completely. Sundancer weapon ready? Elena asked, almost. Targeting the quantum filament's core structure. Captain, I need you to understand, if this works, it will barely work. If it doesn't work, we just wasted our last chance to run. Elena felt the weight of every life on both ships pressing down on her shoulders. 12,000 humans, 3,000 mycelians, 15,000 souls depending on a weapon that had never been fired. To solve a problem that was barely understood. Behind her, she heard Kenji Yamamoto's voice speaking softly into a recorder. If anyone finds this message, know that Captain Elena Vasquez gave us a chance to show the galaxy who humanity really is. Not warriors, not conquerors, but people who do the right thing even when it costs everything. Kenji, we're not dead yet, Elena said. I know, Captain, but I wanted it said while we still could. The ship bucked violently. A massive tremor ran through the deck. Sparks flew from one of the rear consoles. A crew member screamed. Hull breach on deck 7, someone shouted. Emergency bulkhead sealing. Radiation levels spiking. Park called out. We're being exposed to exotic particles. Sick bay is about to be very busy. Elena gripped her chair. Marcus, tell me you're ready. Firing solution calculated. Targeting the quantum filament's resonance frequency. Captain, this is it. If I'm wrong about this, we won't get a second chance. You're not wrong. Fire. The Indomitable unleashed a weapon designed to destroy battleships, but instead of targeting an enemy, it fired directly into the heart of the spatial anomaly. A brilliant blue-white beam of concentrated particles stabbed into the swirling vortex of impossible physics. For 1 terrible second, nothing happened. Then everything happened at once. The quantum filament reacted to the particle beam like a living thing being injured. It writhed, it pulsed. The colors in its depths shifted from angry red to bright white. The gravitational forces pulling at both ships suddenly reversed, pushing them away instead. It's working, Park shouted. The filament is destabilizing. It's collapsing inward instead of expanding. Hold that beam steady, Elena ordered. Keep firing until it's gone. The Sundancer weapon poured energy into the anomaly. The Indomitable's fusion reactors strained to provide power to both the weapon and the shields. Alarms screamed from every system. The bridge lights flickered. We're losing reactor 2, Marcus yelled over the comm. Going to emergency power. The lights went out completely. Emergency red lighting kicked in a second later, bathing everything in blood-colored shadows. The crew worked in near darkness, guided only by the glow of their console screens. On the view screen, the quantum filament collapsed in on itself like a dying star. The violent colors dimmed. The gravitational distortion smoothed out. Space began to look like space again instead of a nightmare painting. Then, with a final flash of light, the anomaly vanished. Silence fell across the bridge. The only sounds were heavy breathing and the quiet beeping of damaged systems. Slowly, the normal lights came back on. "Report," Elena said, her voice hoarse. "Hull breaches on 12 decks," Chen reported. "All sealed now. Casualties being reported to sickbay. Injuries from the gravitational stress and radiation exposure. No deaths yet. Shield generators burned out," Tactical added. "We have no defensive screens until we complete repairs." "Reactor 2 is offline," Marcus confirmed. "Reactor 1 running at 30% efficiency. We're limping, Captain, but we're alive." "The mycelium ship?" Elena asked. "Intact," Park said, and there was wonder in her voice. All 3,000 life signs still reading strong. "We saved them, Captain. We actually saved them." Elena let out a breath she did not know she had been holding. They had done it. Through luck and skill and sheer human stubbornness, they had done the impossible. "Captain, incoming transmission," Rodriguez said. "It's from the mycelium ship we just rescued. Put it through." The view screen lit up with the face of Sporax, the mycelium science officer who had spoken up for humanity earlier. But now Elena could see that face more clearly in high resolution. The bioluminescent patterns were pulsing rapidly, what might have been extreme emotion for their species. "Captain Vasquez," Sporax said, and the translator caught something in the harmonics of that voice, something that might have been tears if mushroom people could cry. "You saved us. You came into certain death to save us. My children were on this ship. My life partner. My entire genetic line. You saved everything I am." Elena found her own eyes burning with tears. "We couldn't leave you. It wouldn't have been right. But we are strangers. Minutes ago we were enemies. You had every reason to flee and save yourselves." "That's exactly why we couldn't flee," Elena said. "Because you were strangers. Because we want you to know who humans really are. Not from our transmissions or our weapons or our ship. From our actions." Sporax's patterns pulsed in what might have been understanding. "The Council will hear of this." "They must. You asked us why. Why did you save us? Now I ask you, why did you risk so much?" Elena thought about all the reasons. All the complex political and philosophical justifications. But in the end, the answer was simple. "Because it was the right thing to do," she said. "Because every life matters. Because isn't that what civilization means?" The channel closed. Around Elena, her crew began the hard work of damage control, but they worked with smiles on their faces now. They had passed a test nobody knew they were taking. On the long-range sensors, the alien fleet began to move. Not to flee, not to attack, they were coming to help. The choice, the first alien ship to arrive, was Etherian. Its crystalline hull caught the light of distant stars and scattered it into rainbows. It drifted alongside the damaged Indomitable with surprising grace considering its size. On the bridge, Captain Elena Vasquez watched it approach with a mixture of relief and lingering caution. "They're hailing us." "Captain," Rodriguez said. "Put them through." Ambassador Threlnix appeared on the view screen. Her crystalline features seemed to have changed somehow. The patterns beneath her surface moved in different ways than before. Slower. Gentler. "Captain Vasquez," she said, "we are bringing repair equipment and medical supplies. We request permission to come aboard and assist your crew." Elena felt emotion tighten her throat. "Permission granted, Ambassador. Thank you. It is we who should thank you. What you did was—" Threlnix paused as if searching for words. "There is no adequate translation. In my language we have a word, shalnira. It means an act of pure compassion that comes at great personal cost. An act that defines the soul of a species." Within the hour, the Indomitable's docking bays were filled with activity. Alien engineers worked alongside human crews. Etherian crystal weavers used technology that looked like magic to seal hull breaches. Mycelium bioengineers brought living patches that could bond with human metal and grow into perfect seals. Even the Chromath sent their best structural experts. Elena walked through the corridors, observing the cooperation. Everywhere she looked, humans and aliens worked together. The language barriers were still there. The translators were not perfect. But hands spoke a universal language. A tool was a tool. A smile was a smile, even on a face with no mouth. She found Marcus Torres in Engineering Bay 3, standing next to a Chromath technician who towered over him by a full meter. The reptilian alien was examining one of the reactor's damaged conduits. "This design is inefficient," the Chromath rumbled. "But clever. Very clever. You achieve high output with minimal exotic materials." Marcus grinned. "We have to be clever. Earth doesn't have access to whatever fancy elements you folks use. We make do with what we've got." "Admirable," the Chromath said. Then he did something Elena did not expect. He pressed his clawed hand to his chest in what might have been a salute. "You are warriors, human. Not because you fight. Because you do not run. My name is Krathnex. I am honored to help repair your vessel." "Marcus Torres," the engineer replied, returning the gesture. "And I'm honored to learn from you." Elena continued her rounds. In the medical bay, she found Dr. Sarah Chen working alongside a team of alien physicians. They hovered over crew members exposed to exotic radiation during the rescue. The alien doctors brought medicines and technologies that human science had never dreamed of. "They're healing us," Dr. Chen told Elena, wonder in her eyes. "Injuries that would take weeks to recover from. They're fixing them in hours. They're teaching me things, Captain. Things that could revolutionize human medicine." In the mess hall, crew members shared food with their alien guests. Elena watched as a young ensign offered a mycelian some of the ship's reconstituted apple pie. The mushroom creature absorbed a small piece through its surface. Then its bioluminescent patterns exploded in a display of colors. "Sweet," the mycelian exclaimed through its translator. "So sweet. We do not have this sensation in our food." "It is wonderful." Laughter filled the room. The kind of genuine laughter that comes from shared joy. Not from jokes or entertainment. The laughter of people of species connecting for the first time. Elena made her way to the forward observation deck. She needed a moment alone to process everything that had happened. Through the transparent aluminum windows, she could see the alien fleet. Dozens of ships from half a dozen species all working together to help humanity's wounded vessel. "They say you can judge a species by what they do when no one is watching," a voice said behind her. Elena turned to find Sporax approaching. The mycelian moved with a fluid grace that seemed wrong for something that looked like it should be rooted to the ground. "But you were watching," Elena replied. "All of you were watching. Yes, we watched you fly into death to save strangers. We watched you sacrifice your ship, your only ship in all this vast space, for people you had never met. People who had threatened you moments before." Sporax moved to stand beside her at the window. "I have been thinking about your question, Captain. About what civilization means. In the galaxy we have many definitions. The Etherians say civilization is the pursuit of perfect knowledge. The Chromath say it is the strength to defend one's own. The Mycelians say it is the growth and spread of life." "And what do humans say?" Sporax asked. Elena thought about it. "About Earth's history. About all the wars and mistakes and triumphs. About the long, hard climb from caves to spacecraft. We say civilization is when we care for people beyond our tribe," Elena said slowly. "When we protect strangers. When we see someone suffering and cannot walk away, even if helping costs us everything." Sporax's patterns pulsed thoughtfully. "The Council is convening in 1 hour. They will make a final decision about humanity, about whether to welcome you to the galactic community or declare you too dangerous to contact. What do you think they'll decide?" "I think," Sporax said, "that you have already decided for them. No species that acts as you did can be kept away. The galaxy needs humans, Captain Vasquez. We need your strange mix of caution and courage, your weapons and your mercy. We need your Shalnira." An hour later, Elena stood on the bridge in her dress uniform. The crew had cleaned up as best they could, but the bridge still showed signs of damage. Scorched panels, replacement screens that didn't quite match, the smell of burned wiring that hadn't quite cleared from the air filtration systems. The view screen activated. This time it showed not one alien but dozens. A massive chamber filled with representatives from every species in the Galactic Council. Etherians and Mycelians and Chromath. Beings made of light. Beings that looked like living metal. Beings that existed in multiple dimensions and appeared as impossible geometries. Ambassador Threlnik stood at the center of them all. "Captain Elena Vasquez of Earth," she announced formally. "The Galactic Council has reached a decision regarding humanity's petition to join the community of spacefaring peoples." Elena stood at attention. Behind her, her senior staff did the same. The moment stretched. Thousands of years of human history, hundreds of generations of dreams all coming down to this. "We were afraid of you," Threlnix continued. Your ship is a weapon unlike any we have seen in centuries. Your broadcasts showed violence and conquest. Your actions seemed aggressive and hostile. We judged you by your appearance, not your character. The chamber fell silent. We were wrong, Threlnik said. Today we learned that humans do not build weapons because they want to conquer. They build them because they have survived alone and they are cautious. We learned that humans do not send warships to diplomatic meetings as threats. They send them because they do not know how to separate their military from their explorers. Because in human culture, the same people who defend are the same people who discover. Threlnik's crystalline form seemed to glow brighter. Most importantly, we learned that when humans must choose between their safety and the lives of strangers, they choose the strangers, every time, without hesitation. This is not the behavior of conquerors. This is the behavior of people who have earned the right to stand among the stars. Elena felt tears running down her cheeks. She was not the only one. The Galactic Council formally invites humanity to join us as full members, Threlnik declared. Not as junior partners, not as observers, but as equals, as friends, as family. The alien chamber erupted in sounds that might have been cheering, in a dozen different forms. Furthermore, Threlnik continued, we grant humanity an honor that has been given only 3 times in the 10,000-year history of our council. We offer you a permanent seat among our leadership, a voice in the decisions that guide all our peoples. We do this because we believe humanity will make us better, will remind us what we should aspire to be. We accept, Elena said, her voice strong despite her tears. On behalf of humanity, we accept, and we promise to be worthy of your trust. Threlnik smiled, or at least did whatever Etherians did that looked like smiling. Captain, there is one more matter. We have analyzed the events that led to our misunderstanding. We have reviewed our first contact protocols. We realize they are designed for species with centuries of galactic awareness, not for species like yours taking their first steps into a much larger universe. We were not fair to you. We will change our laws, she continued. We will create new protocols for first contact. Because of what we learned from you, future species will be greeted with more patience, more understanding, more compassion. You have changed us, Captain Vasquez. You have made the galaxy more human. The transmission ended to thunderous applause from the human crew. Elena turned to look at them, at Kenji with his tears of joy, at Marcus grinning from ear to ear, at Lieutenant Chen pumping his fist in the air, at Rodriguez and Park hugging each other, at all 12,000 souls who had trusted her to bring them safely through the darkness. We did it, she said simply. And the Indomitable, humanity's first Titan-class warship, had become something more important. It had become a symbol of hope. The understanding. 3 weeks after the rescue, the Indomitable no longer looked like a warship limping home from battle. Alien technology had worked miracles. The hull breaches were sealed with biometal that was stronger than the original plating. The burned-out shield generators had been replaced with hybrid systems that combined human engineering with Etherian crystal matrices. The ship was not just repaired, it was better. Captain Elena Vasquez stood in the conference room with her senior staff and their new guests. Ambassador Threlnik had come aboard permanently as the Galactic Council's liaison to humanity. Sporax had accepted the position of Cultural Exchange Officer. Even War Commander Krathnex of the Chromath had requested to stay, fascinated by human military philosophy. Earth is very excited, Kenji Yamamoto said, looking at the latest messages from home. The news of our acceptance into the Council has united the planet in ways nothing else ever has. Nations that were rivals are cooperating. Everyone wants to be part of this new era. They are building more ships? Krathnex asked, his scales rippling with what might have been eagerness. Not warships, Elena corrected gently. Science vessels. Colony ships. Medical frigates. Earth has learned from our mistake. We're sending out exploration instead of intimidation. But you will keep your military, Krathnex stated. It was not a question. Of course, Marcus Torres replied. But we'll make sure our diplomats arrive before our destroyers. Threlnik's crystalline form shimmered with amusement. A wise policy. Captain, there is something we must discuss. The Council has reviewed your ship's specifications and compared them to vessels from our historical records. We now understand why we were so alarmed by the Indomitable. She activated a holographic display. It showed a ship that looked disturbingly similar to the Indomitable, massive, angular, bristling with weapons. This is a Devastator-class dreadnought, Threlnix explained. 10,000 years ago, a species called the Vraxkor built ships like these. They used them to conquer 17 star systems before the Council stopped them. That war nearly destroyed galactic civilization. It took centuries to recover. Elena stared at the image. The similarities were undeniable. We didn't know. We designed the Indomitable from scratch based on what we thought we'd need. We know that now, Sporak said, but it explains our fear. To us, your ship was not new. It was a nightmare from history returned to haunt us. What happened to the Vraxkor? Lieutenant Chen asked. They were not destroyed, Threlnik said. They were reformed. Given time and patience and help, they became one of the Council's most peaceful member species. They are the ones who now build our hospital ships and rescue vessels. They transformed their warlike nature into a passion for saving lives. That's what we want, Elena said. Not to be feared for our weapons, but known for what we do with our strength. You are already known for that, Sporax assured her. The story of the rescue has spread across every Council world. Songs are being written about the human ship that flew into death to save strangers. Art is being created. Philosophy is being debated. You have inspired the galaxy, Captain. Over the following days, the cultural exchange deepened. Human crew members learned alien languages. Alien guests learned to appreciate human music and food and humor. Mistakes were made. A Chromath warrior accidentally insulted a human ensign by complimenting her battle scars, not knowing humans often found their scars embarrassing rather than honorable. A human chef nearly poisoned a mycelium by adding salt, not knowing it was toxic to their species. But these mistakes were met with laughter and apologies, not anger. Trust was being built one small interaction at a time. One evening, Elena found herself in the observation deck with Sporax. The mycelium had become her closest friend among the aliens. They often stood together watching the stars. I have a confession, Sporax said. When I first saw your ship, I wanted the Council to destroy it. I thought you were a threat. I thought my children would be safer if humans were kept away from the galaxy. But you spoke up for us, Elena said. You defended us when no one else would. I studied your transmissions. I saw your history. Yes, humans fight. Yes, they war with each other. But I also saw that you always have people who choose peace, who choose compassion, who choose to help even when it costs them. Every dark moment in human history has bright moments too. People who risked everything to do what was right. Sporax's patterns pulsed thoughtfully. I realized that a species should not be judged by its worst members, but by its best. And humanity's best are very good indeed. We're not perfect, Elena admitted. We make mistakes. We have prejudices and fears. We still fight among ourselves sometimes. So do we all, Sporax replied. The mycelians had a civil war 3,000 years ago that nearly made us extinct. The Etherians went through a period where they believed they were superior to all other life. The Chromath used to conquer and enslave. Every species in the Council has darkness in its past. What matters is that we grow, we change, we become better. And you think humans can do that? I know you can. Because you already did. You came to the stars cautiously with weapons ready. But when the moment came to choose between fear and compassion, you chose compassion. That is growth. That is evolution. Not of the body, but of the soul. A message came through from Earth Command. It was marked urgent and addressed directly to Captain Vasquez. She opened it in her ready room with Kenji present as witness. The face of Admiral Chen appeared. No relation to Lieutenant Chen, despite the shared surname. She was an elderly woman with steel-gray hair and eyes that had seen decades of service. Captain Vasquez, the Admiral said, I'm sending this message to congratulate you and to inform you of some decisions made by Earth's unified government. First, you are being promoted to Fleet Admiral. You will command all human ships operating in Council space. Elena blinked in surprise. Fleet Admiral. It was a rank that had been theoretical until now. Earth's fleet had only ever operated in the solar system. Second, the Admiral continued, the Indomitable is being redesignated. She will no longer be classified as a Titan-class warship. She is now designated as humanity's flagship and mobile embassy. Her weapons will remain, but her primary mission is now diplomacy and cultural exchange. Kenji smiled. They're turning our warship into a peace ship. Third, the Admiral said, we are sending the Indomitable on a 5-year mission to visit every Council world. You will be our ambassadors. You will show the galaxy who humans really are. Captain Fleet Admiral, you and your crew have already given us our first victory in space. Now we're asking you to give us many more. But victories of friendship, not of war. The message ended. Elena sat in silence for a moment, absorbing it all. You deserve it, Kenji said. Everything you've achieved. Everything you've given us. I didn't do it alone, Elena replied. 12,000 crew members made the choice to risk their lives. Marcus kept the ship together. You kept our diplomatic hopes alive. We all did this. Then we'll all do the next part together too. The farewell ceremony was held in the Indomitable's main hangar bay. The entire crew assembled along with their alien guests. Ambassador Threlnik stood at a podium that had been hastily constructed. Behind her, representatives from every council species waited. Today, we make official what has already become true in our hearts, Threlnik announced. Humanity is no longer alone. You are part of a family that spans 1,000 worlds. You are our friends, our allies, our teachers, she gestured to Sporax. The Mycelians have declared the crew of the Indomitable honorary members of their collective. This is an honor given only to those who have saved Mycelian lives at risk of their own. Sporax stepped forward with a large crystal that pulsed with soft light. This is a life crystal. It contains the genetic memory of every Mycelian saved from the colony ship. As long as this crystal lives, so does the memory of your kindness. We will tell our children, and they will tell theirs forever. Krathnex approached next. The Chromath recognized strength and honor. We mistook your strength for threat. We were fools. To apologize, we offer this. He presented an ornate weapon, a ceremonial blade etched with complex patterns. This is forged from the hull of our oldest warship. It represents our history. We give it to you as a symbol that our history and yours are now shared. One by one, each species presented gifts. The Etherians gave a crystal matrix that would enhance the Indomitable's computers. A species of living energy gave a power core that would never deplete. A collective of machine intelligences gave upgraded sensors that could see across dimensions. Finally, Ambassador Threlnix presented the last gift, a star map. But not just any map. This one showed every council world, every known species, every safe route through space. This is complete galactic knowledge, she said. Every species that joins the council receives this map. It represents trust. We are showing you everything we know. Every secret of our civilization because we believe you will use this knowledge wisely. Elena accepted the map with both hands, feeling the weight of it. Not the physical weight, it was nearly massless. But the weight of trust, of responsibility. We will be worthy of this, she promised. Today, humanity takes its first true steps into the galaxy. We come not as conquerors, but as friends. Not to take, but to share.